Hey guys, I've just finished up painting my A-arms for this Honda 300. I built a 4-inch lift. So I guess I'm going to make this video to show you my step-by-step process on how I built these things, and maybe it'll help you figure out how you want to build yours or whatever you want to do. But the first thing I did was order axles, ball joint pads, all new ball joints, and that was the first thing. Those ball joint pads I got at the Honda 300 Club. The axles are for a 450 Foreman. It's the front right axle. I also ordered Heims. I only ordered 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. My buddy ordered 8 of them. He used half of them for one of his lifts. But the high alignment spacers that I got with them, they were not long enough to go from the Heim to the thing, so I had to make some custom spacers to fit in there. And then up here, I just did a little pipe notching to go around the old A-arm bushing. The bushings will get hot and they'll start on fire and crap like that. I don't know, I just dunked mine in water super fast. I only welded about a 1/4 inch and then dunked it in the water. As far as aligning everything up, that's probably the most trickiest part. I may not have got mine completely correct. As far as where the shock is and the ball joint, they used to be straight up and down from each other, because on a stock 300 A-arm, I believe the shock mount is right here above it. So I think mine is about 2.5, 3 inches this way forward, which it might be alright, it might not, I'm not totally sure yet. As far as everything else, one of these things helped me a lot. This one here kind of sucks, it's sticky. I got another one around here. It's this one here works a lot better. I got that level, and then I did all my measuring off this part of the frame right here. So the first thing I did was jack up this piece of C-channel under the bike, just somewhere. I put the axles in the diff, and then the knuckles, the hubs, and the ball joint pads with the new ball joints in, and then I put a rim on it. Got it all tightened up, all ready to go. The only thing that was missing is the actual pad or actual arms themselves. Everything else was there. The rims, I welded them onto the C-channel where everything was straight. I took a 4-foot level, put it across the front of here, and I measured from the edge of the level to the center of the ball joint pad on both sides. And that's how I got this side the same forward as this side. As far as getting the ball joints level with each other, what I did was, after I got the rim welded up, I was able to put a straight edge across this side of the rim and square the ball joint pad off the rim. I also got it level and square, spun the knuckle, did the same thing to the bottom, and then I leveled them up. And after I got this ball joint pad square and level this way, and this one square and level this way, I leveled them up, and then I locked this down to this board over here, or whatever you got. I put a clamp on here and clamped it down where it wasn't gonna move no more. As far as the angle of the axle, Not totally sure. This one here doesn't really fit in there that well. I use the other one for the angle, but mine, this here says it's about 32 degrees or so. The other one said it was about 35, so that's about the angle I had it at. All I had to do there was, you know, jack up the C channel until I had it at the angle that I wanted it. And it seemed to work out. I'm not totally sure how everything's gonna work. This is my first lift I've ever built, so yeah, I know the welding sucks. All I had is this little welder here and a little MIG welder over there to do stuff with, and it just wasn't cutting it for me. I couldn't. And my first time ever using a stick welder, and that was a hell of a gap because I messed up making the shock mounts. Anyways, now I'm forgetting something here. The axles, before I welded the rim to the C channel, I pushed the rim in all the way and then marked the rim. I pushed the axle in all the way as far as I could and then marked the rim, marked the C channel where the rim was. And then I pulled it out all the way and marked it again. And then I pushed the rim in until it moved between the two marks that I had, so that way your axle is in the middle position of where it's supposed to be, you know. Instead of it being all the way out or all the way in, I had it in the middle, set down here. And that's where I welded everything up. So your axles are sitting at a 32-degree angle. They're halfway compressed. I think you want them about an inch and a half or so forwards, or 2 inches forwards. I'm not totally sure. You have to ask somebody else. Mine are probably about 2.5 inches or so. The tie rods, I didn't do the best job on them, but all I did was go to Home Depot and buy some cold roll, cut it, and then butt welded it right there and there. Pretty simple. You just cut the ends off, screw that in, and then just measure for a piece in the middle. I made sure I cut both my pieces the same and cut the exact same off of each one, you know, so they're both exactly the same. My shocks were bent up here. You can see that this piece that I got isn't straight. You can see the shock bolt there, and then you can see the shock bolt is higher over here. So that's where my shock mounts got messed up. This stuff up here is bent, so I had to kind of move stuff around for that. But other than that, everything turned out right. What I did find out later is that these pads right here, what I did was I made them level this way. Well, what that does is it takes away some of your movement with the ball joint pad, because now you can go, you know, when it lifts up, it's going to bottom out a lot closer than it should. If you take your ball joint pad and you kick it up just a little bit, that's going to give you a lot more movement with your ball joint. That's the only thing that I didn't do that I could have done, but I didn't think about it at the time. Other than that, that's about all there is to it. The only thing you really have to buy is pipe, ball joint pads, new ball joints, some Heims if you want them. If not, you can just do that on all 8 of them. You have 0 adjustment if you do that, but that's okay. And this is the same for any lift. The size pipe I used is 3/4 schedule 40 rigid pipe. The ball joint pads, I got them from Jean Clay on the Honda 300 Club, and That's about it. Rest of this bike, did a body lift. I don't recommend using Schedule 80 pipe to do a body lift. I couldn't figure out how to weld that shit, but still have it. There's the paddle. This is a 2.5 inch stretch. The 2.5 inch drive shaft, 2.5 inch plus drive shaft comes out of a first generation Honda 300. It's the front drive shaft of a first generation Honda 300. So anything from 88 to 92, the front drive shaft out of that 300 will go into the back and give you 2.5 inches of stretch. This paddle is pretty simple. It's just a piece of, well, it's a 250 big red rear end. So the axle is different than a Honda 300 rear end. So this piece here is a piece of 1 inch Schedule 80 pipe. And that, the 1 inch Schedule 80 pipe is just cut down the middle, put on there, and then these plates are just welded on there. It's pretty simple. I still have to make a bracket for the shock mount extension, or find a bigger shock, one of the two. But that's about everything I can think of. I got a 250 big red cam and chain in there, and maybe this bike will be alright, I guess. Brand new China carb. Piece of shit. Got the 54% put in. A new one-way bearing. I still got to put a starter one-way bearing in there, but the body lift for me, it was the hardest part. I don't recommend doing one, but it is the best way to get lift. It was pretty simple. Maybe you can do better welding jobs than me, but all I did was cut this, added 3 inches on both sides, welded. I did this piece first, the steering, 3 inches, then this one, then that one. Make sure your bike is square this way whenever you weld those two front pieces up. That's another piece of advice I can give you. I'm about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch off, but I cut that piece, put it in there, cut a piece for that, and cut a piece to go from here up to here. You got to cut more out, you know, than you can't just cut it in half and put pieces in between. You have to cut more than that out. Like this one right here, I didn't just cut it in half and put a piece in. You have to cut it down here, and you have to cut it way up here so you can get a full joint in there, full piece in there that makes it look good. Same thing for here. You gotta cut it a lot longer than what it was. Now, this body lift isn't the best, but it'll do. Maybe. Hopefully it won't break. The Schedule 80 pipe does not weld good to this little tubing this stuff has. If I recommend anything, it's finding a scrap frame and using the pipe off of it, so you got the same size pipe. Other than that, that's my Honda 300 and my lift, and hopefully it'll all work out when it's done. Good luck to y'all.